Hi guys. So I haven't videoed in a while, so I figured I'd do a video tonight. I don't really know what it's going to be about. Haven't really got a topic, but I don't know. We'll see what happens really. I'm on my 11th. Start again. I'm on my 11th day of the raw food diet, and it's going really well. No, actually, I think it's the 11th day. And yeah, it's good. I bought a juicer today, just out of impulse. I was looking around Argos and stuff, and it was £12. So we'll see what happens with that really. Just to make like orange juice, pineapple juice. I don't know, something like that. In terms of food wise, it's going really well. I have eaten some. I'm still eating processed food. Obviously, I'm still eating things like soy milk, wraps, chicken. Still eating fish. Because I just feel that that's better for me. And I don't, like you go 100% raw for a while, but I think in some ways you won't always be completely 100% raw, and I've read that a lot in books that I've downloaded and stuff like that. So, and people said to me, people seem to be pretty interested in it. So, I'll tell you sort of my experiences of it. Is that when I first did it, I had no experience and I didn't do any research. I just sort of thought, okay, I'm going to try this out. And yeah, it was good to just randomly do it out of nowhere, but I think it's really important that you make that research first, because you have to think about how much fat and sugar you eat, if it's going to be a low fat, high sugar diet or a high fat, low sugar diet. And you have to consider what foods create mold and what foods don't, and which foods you can't eat raw, which food you can. And you have to consider whether you'll need like extra iron tablets, iodine tablets, vitamin C tablets, omega-3, omega-6 tablets. And you need to be careful of like your blood sugar levels and just like your overall health really, because it can affect that. I have candida albicans, as you know, so for me, like, I was pretty much raw anyway. It's just taken that one step further. And I have to be careful because I can't have too much fruit, so even on a raw food diet, it's still quite tricky for me. But basically, the first stage of going raw is obviously the research, and the best thing to do is to go online and type in the Raw Brothers. Just type in raw food diet and you get loads and loads of helpful videos, but they're more helpful for recipes than anything else. If you actually want information on it, you need to go online. There aren't many books that I found, apart from 2 books on my Kindle, which I just was a book called Truly Raw: Getting Started with Raw Foods by Ryan Bender, and the 7-Day Raw Food Kickstart by Tracy Russell. Now that one by Tracy Russell is really helpful. I had no idea that I would have had that. She is advising that we take like extra vitamin tablets and stuff like that, and it just opened up my eyes really. And in there she says that there's no right way of going raw, and it's up to you how much you do, like if you go raw straight away or if you ease yourself in. But from my personal view is, I think, don't do what I did and go completely raw. Like, from literally, I did a fast, then I did a saltwater flush, and then I went raw, and that was it. And there was no like going back. And even though like 9 months prior I had stopped eating wheat, gluten, yeast, sugar and dairy, I still found it really hard. So I think if you decide to like go raw, to gradually cut it in, like exchange healthy snacks for raw snacks, and then change what you drink to just be like water and green tea, and then start taking things out like dairy and wheat and sugar and yeast and stuff like that, because it is recommended that on a raw food diet you don't eat anything like wheat and stuff. I think it's really bad for you anyway. It just drains your energy so much. from my personal view, and dairy is really bad for you as well. It just gives you such bad arthritis and achy bones and stuff. So that's kind of what I recommend to do, and just research as much as possible, really, because I really wish I did that. I mean, I've done research now, and it turns out that what I was doing was right anyway, but it's just those little things, you know, to help you get through it. Like when I was going through my detox, I thought I was going mad and that it would never end, and I was just like, oh, it's horrible. But you know, it gets easier with time. And one thing I've noticed is that to get a pure benefit out of going raw is that you need to do it for a couple of months. So I'm gonna do that. And also it's a completely different way of like lifestyle. You know, you get up when you're raw, you get up in the morning and you've got to make your morning green smoothie and have your raw cereal, and then through the day you've got to prep all your food, or you've got to blend all the soups together, or you've got to like soak your nuts like 24 hours before and stuff like that. So it's the dedication as well, which I'm finding really hard. Like still now, I'm just like, I really can't be bothered. I'm just, you know, have some processed food. It's like, well, no, you know, you've got to really stick to it. And yeah, I've fallen into that twice now, where I've just gone, oh, I can't be bothered. I'll just have some processed food. It's easier. But then you have to think that even with processed food, you've got to like prep the chicken, and you've got to like heat the pan and defrost like your peas and stuff like that. So it kind of like weighs up the same, really. So yeah, I don't know. I think, you know, the benefits are still showing. Like my skin's a lot better, and I'm not tired, and I sleep deeper, and I wake up without aches and pains, and I am like a lot healthier and a lot happier. Like I had an argument with someone today, and normally I get really angry and raise my voice, whereas today I was just like, you know what, it's whatever, you know, we've had this argument, it's over and done with now. And I would never be like that, and it is definitely the food change, I think, because it's changed my hormones and my emotions. Like they're a lot calmer. But then saying that, I do a lot of meditation, and I work a lot with that anyway. So yeah, I don't know, I think that's kind of it, really. Yeah, so I hope this is like helpful. Kind of food, I haven't really said what kinds of foods you eat when you're raw. So obviously you can't have like wheat, gluten, yeast, dairy, stuff like that. You can't have chocolate or anything. But the things you can have are literally all vegetables, all fruits, most nuts, most seeds. The only sort of foods you can't eat raw are things like potatoes, red kidney beans, parsnips, and that's all I know so far. And you can get like raw dairy, raw eggs, and you can eat like raw steak, but you know, you need to research into that and figure that out for yourself, because I'm not brave enough to do that. I still have soy milk. I haven't had eggs in a while, which is unusual for me, but you know, that's dairy. So yeah, so like for example, today I woke up, I had like muesli for breakfast, and then I had a smoothie, which basically you have to consider having insoluble fibre and soluble fibre. So fruits that have soluble fibre are fruits that it's basically like the texture's quite thick, like bananas, mangoes, pears, strawberries. Insoluble fibre is things like cabbage, kale, lettuce, stuff like that. So you mix a soluble fibre with an insoluble fibre, sort of half and half ratio, and you get a really nice green smoothie. Whereas if you have all insoluble fibre, it's just going to come out really watery and stuff. I learned that off YouTube. So, for example, the green smoothie I had today had 2 bananas, a pear, some kale. I chucked in an apple as well. I chucked in some nuts, and that makes a pint glass about this size, maybe a little bit bigger, full of fruit, and you consume that within 10 minutes so that the nutrients and enzymes get into your body. And then through the day, I'll have things like cashew nuts, pumpkin seeds, stuff like that. I'll make a green salad. So for example, you can eat courgettes raw, which I discovered and I love. So I have things like courgettes, some lettuce, some celery, some red peppers with some lemon juice and some cucumber. Chuck in a bit of, seeds and stuff like that. And then for dinner, I'll make a soup or I'll have another salad. So if I make a soup, I chuck in loads of vegetables like cucumber. And again, you have to think about soluble and insoluble fibre. So avocados are soluble fibre because of the texture. So I chuck in a red pepper, avocado, some celery, an apple, a pear, some cumin, some curry powder, and obviously water. Blend that all up, taste it, maybe add some hazelnuts or some seeds, heat that up a tiny bit. Because the whole thing about raw food diet is that your food isn't heated above 118 degrees, because 118 degrees is when enzymes start to break down and you don't consume enzymes, which is why processed food is not as good for you as raw food, because things like potatoes, parsnips, tomatoes, in order for the enzymes to be broken down and released, you have to cook them, whereas everything else, it's already in there, and the makeup of your body means that you eat raw food better. So now I've lost my point. Yeah, so the whole thing about raw food diet is that your food, if it's heated, it's got to be 118 degrees or under. So, which I'm not going to say I do, because when I heat my soups, I have no idea what temperature I'm heating them to, but I just get them lukewarm, and it's just nicer in the winter. So, yeah, I hope that's kind of helpful. And yeah, have a nice evening, guys.